Welcome to the Fantasy and Frames Best Ball Show. I'm Stacy Perez, and we are here tonight with the Best Ball Queen herself and birthday girl, Stephanie Miller. Tonight, we are going to be doing a Best Ball Mania draft. We're going to be walking you through our process, finding out the strategy behind our picks. Let's do it. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Fantasy and Frames Best Ball Draft. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel over on YouTube, head on over to Fantasy and Frames for some more awesome fantasy football content from all of us here at the Fantasy and Frames family. If you are drafting with us tonight, we are going to be doing one of the Best Ball Mania 4s. So we're hopping into that right now. Jump on in. And if you guys didn't already know, it's Stephanie's birthday. So if you're in the chat, send her a happy birthday. If you're in the draft, send her a happy birthday. Make sure not to snipe her picks. And let's get to it. Stephanie, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Well, thank you guys for all the birthday wishes already. I'm excited to see some familiar faces here, and I am going to hop in right about now.
Yes. That's right. I like what Bandit there just said. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button for Stephanie's birthday. If you don't already do it, let's do it. Stephanie, tell me about this Best Ball Mania draft. I know we are at a 12-team, $25 buy-in. It's an 18-man roster with a 3 wide receiver start, 10 bench spots, half PPR scoring. Tell me about the prize payout structure and how this specific tournament is set up.
So for BBM4, they have weeks 1 through 14 are the regular season. And then we got playoff weeks, which are 15, 16, and 17. And those are standalone weeks. So for the regular season, they are doing some payouts for the highest points. And that pays up to 10,000 place, I believe. So from 1,000 to 10,000 place, you get 250, which is about 10 times your money back. But all of the big money is really in week 17 in those playoffs weeks. So that's where first place prize is $3 million.
Okay.
And it quickly goes down from there. It's a very, very top heavy tournament. We still need 6 people, guys. Oh no, going the wrong way. 7.
6 people, jump on in. If you're not already, Vaporware, good to see you in the draft. Thank you for joining.
I see Kim in there and Bandit and Josh. Thank you guys. And
fantastic.
So, so when we're doing, so since it's a very top heavy tournament, for week 17, it becomes almost like a GPP within itself, if you're familiar with playing DFS, where stacking and correlation is super important to take down that top prize.
Okay. And this is a max 150 entries. So if you guys are degenerate drafters just like we are, you can max out at 150. So you can't do any more than that, unfortunately.
Well, at $25 a pop, that can get expensive pretty fast.
Yeah, absolutely. But good.
So when you're doing the regular season, kind of the strategy a little bit more, a lot of people are worried or thinking about getting the best. It's kind of trying to draft those super teams. So getting the best value when we talk about closing line value a little bit, which is where ADP starts right now. And you can see the ADPs over here. You know, Jefferson goes, first, Chase goes second. So players throughout are going to change where they're typically drafted based on news or, other things that can just be going on. Okay. And somebody gets hurt in preseason. So as they change, so if I draft somebody, in the first round, and then they drop by the time the season starts to the 5th round, that's, not very good value that I ended up getting. Whereas if I have one of those running backs, your main running back goes down, somebody that was the backup is now the main guy, and he jumps from, those late rounds into round 5 or 6, then you're going to be able to, if you had had him earlier, your team's going to be a lot stronger than those people that are now drafting at that new price. So you're competing against all those, because this contest is going for a very long time. It's not like some of the puppies are a lot shorter windows, so it's not quite as important on those because you're not going to get quite as much change. But in this contest,
I was gonna say, those are the puppy drafts also that are on Underdog that you guys can jump into. That's another tournament. I'm sure we're going to be doing some of those here soon as well.
I am drinking some wine vaporware. So I haven't had any hard liquor. I do have a type of tequila somewhere, but working tomorrow, that's probably not the best idea. Hi, Chris. I see you popped in late. Hop in the draft if you're not there already.
There we go, Chris. We got Chalupa Batman in there saying this could be the $3 million lineup. That's right. It absolutely could be. You never know. You never know. Steph, I'm also drinking. Right. I've also got my wine here.
And here, I thought it was going to fall. I thought you're going to fill really fast, but I guess everyone's doing those puppies.
I know. That's okay, though. That's all right. Steph, you'll do a little cheers for your birthday, a little birthday toast. Here's to you. Happy birthday.
Cheers. Woo! Finally 21, able to drink. Haha. No.
Exactly.
I wish.
Vaporware wants to do a shot for every running back we'll take. Well, Vaporware, you might be disappointed because I think we are heavy wide receiver girls over here in this draft. So
yeah, we'll see if there's if this is a piss girl draft. Is that a thing we can say now?
I think
a lot of people know what that means.
Yep. If you know, you know. That's one of those things.
or as I was joking in the chat.
Yeah, and in this draft in particular, you do start 3 receivers as opposed to a lot of, other drafts where you're just starting 2. So it's definitely important to get those receivers early so that you're not, scraping the bottom of the barrel there at the end, which I hate doing. I'd prefer to get a running back later than receivers, but that's just me. So
I have kind of a good rule of thumb that I like to do in most drafts, and especially if you're kind of newer to these. I like to definitely try to get 5 receivers in the first 10 rounds. That's a good benchmark. That will kind of, keep your exposure to those running backs. So usually about, like, say, in the first 10 rounds, you would do the 5 wide receivers and probably 2 to 3 running backs, depending on where you take them. Mm-hmm. If you don't get 3 in those first 10 picks, you probably want to get your third definitely by round 11. Then you can get, a tight end and your quarterback, and that's a good window to be in, because I love to stay for those 1C positions where I only have to take 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends, ideally. That's been shown to be a lot more EV for advancing and doing well in these contests. 3 quarterbacks and 3 tight ends really should be your backup plan, not your main goal when you're building structurally for these.
I mean, especially with only an 8 roster. I mean, there's really no need to do that unless you're, getting them much later.
So when you get to that point, if you get them before that round 10, you'll have good enough players where you can get away with only taking 2.
Mm-hmm.
Based on where they're going. All right, we are in. Let's see where we got the 104. Nice.
Okay, I don't think we've drafted. I know I definitely haven't drafted. I know you've been getting some either side of the end drafts with either the first or the back end.
Oh, and okay, I'm seeing quite a few familiar faces. So this is probably going to. Okay, yeah, I know several of the people in here.
Let's see who else in here. Who do we know?
I know. Do your own research, or do your research. I always say his name wrong. Then we got, let's see. I apologize if there's someone that isn't. We got Chris is CG. We got the Achievers. We got Vaporware. Those are the ones I know, and there's probably more people who I don't know.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys for all joining us.
Because I see other badges, but we'll see.
Here we go. Jason Calhoun says that he is in the 6th spot. Jason, thank you for jumping in.
Yeah, and JXP, if you snipe me on stream, we'll have words later. Joking. It's all love here. No.
Okay, so we got Jamar Chase. We got Justin Jefferson going right off the bat.
All right, so now I normally probably would take CMC, but in this draft, I'm not going there because we're going to get behind the 8 ball, I think.
I agree.
So I'm going to go Cooper Kupp because this is going to be a wide receiver heavy room. And here's the thing. Sometimes with these running backs, if you get the running backs early, you're going to be able to there's only a certain amount you can take. So then you'll miss out on the really good values later. And there's going to be good values later. And you want to be able to capitalize on that.
Exactly. I mean, to me, I think running probably the least valuable position in these things. I mean, they get hurt so often. You know, I would prefer just to take a receiver, tight end, one of those high-end elite quarterbacks before I'm taking running backs, I think.
So, yes, we see almost all. Okay, so there goes Bijan. I would guess that those could very possibly be the only running backs we see come off the board here. Often I've seen Jonathan Taylor dropping to the second round now.
Yep, there goes Kelsey. That's not a surprise in the first round.
That's pretty late. Yeah, that's kind of late for Kelsey. But
yeah, I like your Cooper Kupp.
Okay.
Even with the Rams having a down year last year, I mean, Cooper Kupp is still, you know, put up phenomenal numbers. So no issues with Cooper.
Also, Stafford does go pretty late. So as a second quarterback, he's a nice guy to get a stack with usually.
Yeah, that might be fun to check out.
If we have to, we'll see.
Yeah, see how it rolls. Yep, there, Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, went at the 10 spot. Right there.
Yeah, that did surprise me a little bit, but let's see. Okay, now we're going with the receiver though for the second pick.
Yes.
Oh, and I could have. Yeah, I know that Chris loves himself some Eckler. He takes Eckler almost every draft, so that's not very surprising there.
Who doesn't like? And you know, we're friends fantasy players too as well. So I have great love for Austin Eckler. He's a good dude.
So do you want to do another receiver, or do you want to get in on one of these running backs?
We're at the 4. I think if we want to go a running back, we could potentially do it at the turn. I think I would go receiver here and see if we can grab one of those top 3 teams.
I see the 2 that I like. So do you prefer Devonta or T? We're on the clock, 20 seconds. Do you have a preference between Devonta and T?
Let's go Devonta. I like them both equally, but I was
like, I know you're an Adams, obsessed fan. So
yes. And I've done several.
That's not who we're talking about, but
yeah, I've done several stacks recently with the Bengals. So I need to diversify a little bit there with my exposure. So kind of get some variety in my lineups.
Now, the other thing about
sorry, Steph, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the other thing about drafting this early is we don't know the schedule yet. So we do want to try to guess what could possibly be a matchup in week 17. So sometimes stacking and bring back for a guy that's in the same division is a good strategy, and hoping that you get that correlation for those games, because then you have like a game stack where you have your quarterback stack and then you have a comeback from a game that goes off. That's really how you're going to maximize the points in that week and win. And here we're coming back up.
Yeah, speaking of stacks.
2 picks here. So I have a couple guys I'm eyeballing that I like. I think it'd be a good place to take a running back.
So I kind of like, I see Pollard up there. I like Stevenson, Josh Jacobs, of course. Breece Hall scares me a little bit. I don't know that he's going to be ready to start the season. And even if he does, I would be curious to see at what level he starts at. Is he going to be 100%? That just makes me a little nervous if I'm taking him as my number 1 overall.
Do you prefer Pollard or Stevenson?
Oh, it's birthday girl. Let's go Pollard. Birthday girl day.
Let me get my Cowboys.
Right.
All right, let's take Pollard here. No complaints.
No. Tony Pollard's fantastic. Don't hate that pick at all.
I feel the exact same way right now. I was taking Breece in the earlier contest, but the draft scared me, honestly. The rumors that they were interested in Gibbs that early and things, it kind of seems like one of those situations there might be more than what they're saying. So it has, since I already have exposure in some of those other contest, I'm kind of leaving it at that for right now until we get a little bit more news. Because dead players, especially this early on, could hurt you. I mean, like you say, if he misses some of the season, it's okay if he comes back. But how long is it going to take him? And I mean, when it's your pick this early, yeah, it can be bad. So I've backed off of Breece as well a little bit lately, even though I was pretty confident before.
Well, I mean, it's like with running backs. I mean, obviously, your legs are the most important. You're pushing off, you're cut and run. You know, you're doing so many vital things at that position, and you've got to have strong legs. You've got to be able to give 100% to that. And if you're not, I mean, it's going to kind of be like, you know, in Saquon, not last year, but the year before, coming off that injury. I mean, it was pretty obvious the whole year he wasn't 100%. You could see it in his play. You could see it in his production. And if it's me, if I'm drafting, I don't know that I'm willing to take somebody that high who may have those question marks. You know, if I can get good value on them, sure. But I'm probably not taking them as my number one starter.
Yeah, I agree. And that's another thing. I think that as we get more news, he could fall some. So there might be a spot, again, that I'm more comfortable taking him at. But the 2-year coming back on ACL injuries is a real thing, which is kind of what we saw with Saquon. I mean, we see that over and over again. And ACLs are affecting running back position, like you say, as one of them, you know, more than other positions because of how explosive, you know, they have lateral movements, they have all sorts of other stuff going on. Let's see, we got our pick. We're not too far away. Maybe we can figure it out. So we've got our 2 receivers of running back. Hurts, of course, is not on the board. I mean, we could look at getting an elite tight end or going another receiver, because what happens here is after the 4th round and start getting into the receivers kind of drop off. It kind of starts, it's already kind of in the little bit of a gross spot, but
yeah, that, I mean,
I like a tier break. So
I
think maybe we should grab one of these guys and then maybe look at tight end on the way back.
Yes, one of
DJ
those.
Moore, McLaurin. Do you have a preference? Allen, Hurry.
Let's go DJ Moore.
Okay. I don't have very much DJ Moore.
I don't have much exposure to DJ Moore, and I'm curious to see how that works out with him in Chicago there. So I do see a tight end that I would love to have if he makes it back to us on the turn.
Yeah.
Surprised it's not George. As entertaining as George is.
We'll see who's there, but we got a lot of people who already know who I'm thinking in my head in front of us. But it's my birthday. It'd be nice to not take them from me, right? Right?
It should be.
Right? Yay.
I was going to say there's one down there that we could do a nice little stack with one of our receivers, since we missed out on that particular quarterback. So
that's the thing you can do, is you can do multiple pass catchers from the same team without a quarterback.
I took a Chase Higgins stack not that long ago, and that ended up being a really fun team that I'm really excited about.
Do you have Burrow with it, or is it just Chase Higgins?
No, I just got to be Chase and Higgins. Last year in a redraft, actually, I did a Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle team, and oh my gosh, that was a blast. All right, so we are up.
I mean, so are you thinking Goddard's what you wanted?
I was thinking Goddard. How do you feel about that? Are you on board? Do you feel good about Goddard?
It's a little early, but this room, I mean, you know, it's a limited position, so you never know.
I'd either say Pitts or I mean, not Kittle, sorry. Pitts
or Goddard. I mean, Pitts is, I mean, I love Pitts, but I like the idea of stacking up the NFC East here, because we have Pollard, so that could give us another Week 17 correlation, possibly, if Dallas plays, you know, Philly.
Exactly.
And you don't need the quarterback for the, you know, for your stack. So, you know, people get freaking out. Pat Kerrane had a great article about why you don't need necessarily a quarterback for your stacks that you can get. It's a good way to get your 2 stacks with your 2 quarterbacks. You want them stacked up, but you can also get a third stack without necessarily having the quarterback just in there to increase your correlation. Kind of like when we do, you know, GPPs again, you'll have other mini correlations or things within, you know, the more correlated your lineup is, the less things you have to get right. And in the playoff weeks, that's what's going to help you win all the money. Because I personally want my teams that do get through to week 17 to be able to take down that top prize. That's just me. I'd like to have $3 million. And yeah, I will cry if I end up getting, you know, that close and then coming, I mean, 30,000, you know, still nice, but it's so top heavy. I mean, there's life-changing money and then there's, you know, a nice chunk of change.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but man, this week I was really getting irritated with my day job, just interrupting my draft time. So if we could make sure to get some of that life-changing money, let's do it. Wow. Exactly. All right. So we've got the team on the end here has definitely gone very running back heavy. They've got Etienne, Gibbs, Dobbins, and now Dameon Pierce. Oh, Jason says that he guessed since it's your birthday, he can live with us stealing from Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert's a fun player. I like him a lot.
Does he have does he have Hurts? I'm guessing.
He must. We'll have to take a look at the board in just a second here. But
yeah, I was kind of seeing who's falling or coming. There is. Oh, I know it's early.
Let me get your thoughts on one. Well, wait, how we're coming up here to
what draft, are you looking at getting? I think we should probably go one more time receiver and then maybe get our next running back or see what quarterbacks are around next.
So the one that you're hovering over right now, is that on purpose or is that just where your cursor ended up?
No, but I think my cursor and my mind might be melding together.
I think so. I think your cursor knows. I mean, I think I heard it today and I can't remember where I heard it. There's 107 targets left that Adam Thielen vacated, right? So they've got to go to somebody. And, you know.
Oh, well, and we talked him up too soon.
We did. All right. That's okay. We'll get him next time. That's fine.
So I would be looking at Godwin probably, or if we wanted to go running back, I'd be open to doing Mixon or
let's do. Swift. Why don't we do Mixon? I have. Well, I mean, Swift. We could keep our Philly stack. Either one. That's actually about.
Let's do it. I don't have any Mixon, and I think he might rise.
Exactly. That's. I was going to ask you.
Swift, I think Swift is going a little high, honestly. I think I don't see why there's this big a gap between him and Penny myself.
I agree. And I was just thinking about Mixon and where he's at, because I know he's been kind of a polarizing, figure so far in drafts, because is he going to be suspended? We don't know. I mean, it's really him and not too many other people there. So, I mean,
he's Chase Brown.
Chase Brown, those two guys, right? I mean, Joe Mixon's one of the very few, I guess if you want to say bell cow running backs that are left, right? Him, Chubb, Derrick Henry. So, I mean, if you can get him at a good value, I don't hate it, even though he's not my favorite running back, but value always, you got to.
Oh yeah. Where he's going right now. I mean, that because he can, like you say, I mean, he has the profile of a first and second rounder. And right. I mean, I think he would be going higher if people weren't scared, thinking he would get cut and things, but he survived the draft, and it looks like the criminal charges are going to be kept kind of in check, I think, from what I've heard. So,
well, if anything, it may end up like the Kamara situation where it happened and then it doesn't really get dealt with till the following season, so if something comes up with Mixon, at this point, just knowing how long and drawn out those cases can end up being, he may not end up having to deal with it if he ever does until next year. And then
all right. We're on the clock and it's my birthday and I know it's early, but I need to get some shares of this boy. So come on home. I am going to grab you.
Welcome
you
to the
don't
squad.
Necessarily need to be stacked, but I can stack you later. And yeah, it's happening.
Welcome to the squad.
Because I had a really traumatic experience earlier today, yesterday, actually, where I had in my rookie draft the 1-1 and the 103.
Oh.
And so obviously I took Bijan with my 101 in Dynasty, and I was praying that the 102 would not take Richardson from me, but they did. So I did get Bryce Young, so it's not too bad, but I really had my heart set on him, so it made me a little bit sad.
Jason Calhoun thinks that we are trying to ruin all his stacks. You know,
sorry.
Sometimes that's how the ball bounces, Jason. I don't know what to tell you.
So let's see what is Jason's name here. Where is he at in the draft?
Spot, I think. Yeah, Jason's in the 6th spot.
He's in the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
So he had the AJ. Oh, you have AJ Brown hurts. You're already off to a great start, Jason.
Oh yeah.
We had to take him down a notch. No.
And he's
okay, so he's kind of doing a similar thing with the NFC East here. So he's got Waller, you know, so that could be a possible Week 17 correlation to go along. And yeah, he did have Pittman. Sorry, friend. You know, I've tried that a few times, and I have not yet gotten Pittman with A-Rich either. So it was not on purpose. I'm sorry. But like I said, you can still stack up skill players without their quarterback.
Oh, yeah. And guys, we are coming up at the end of the 7th round. So for those of you who are going to be listening to this instead of watching, just to kind of tell you where we're at the turn at the end of the 7th, Cortland Sutton went, and now Zay Flowers. So Sutton Flowers at that turn there. Man, I am super excited about our Anthony Richardson pick. That was fantastic. I'm glad you did that.
So it was a little early, but I know that he goes, like and especially in kind of reading the room, knowing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So here's the thing. Also, there was an article or something Justin Herzig, who won the first BBM, put out, and he was talking about how it would be more unique to have Richardson in 2 quarterback builds and not with an elite guy.
Okay.
Because a lot of people were kind of worried about that. And that could be because if he hits his ceiling, he's going to go off, and you want him in your lineup. And the other would be almost like a wasted pick. So
yeah, I mean, if he hits
this is
one
of those, we're going for the prize here. I mean, yes, there's risk to this build that we got, but hey, we're trying to win $3 million here. You know, no risk, no reward.
Exactly. That's kind of we're on the clock now.
All
so
right. We are on the clock.
If we're trying to get our 5 running backs.
How do you feel about Quentin Johnson?
At this round, I like him. He's not one of my favorite rookies out of this draft, but I do like him here.
But we're doing the ceiling thing. He's another guy that could, and I love his landing spot, even though I do think there's flaws with him as a prospect.
Exactly. So let's take Johnston here.
He could be, he could get those deep balls. He could be a big play threat. And again, the Chargers, Palmer's not very good, and Keenan's not going to be around forever. He definitely could come on.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't know what on earth must have had just like the worst hamstring. I mean, Brian Robinson coming back after 4 weeks after getting shot. Keenan Allen's out 9 weeks with a hamstring injury. So, all right. So do we want to take another? I was going to say, do we want to go and receiver if we're looking to do that 5 within the first 10 rounds? Because we will be coming up on 10.
They kind of come, yeah. Well, and as you see, we're going to have to reach on receivers because in this room it's just a really heavy wide receiver room. Which I mean, overall, that's been a heavier wide receiver, year. So even without the rooms that tended to already be 0 RB drafters, you see it more. It's been talked up a lot more, and even the average people are starting to get more on board. So, I mean, it kind of falls off here, but we can make a reach.
I don't hate Boyd. In that situation, I'm not a Michael Thomas fan. We don't have enough time on this show for me to go into all that.
I have none of him. If he does go off.
And isn't that the argument for him, right?
I think he's still the end of a tier. And, I don't know if Davis is watching.
He'd be our 5, right?
I give him, and because he's the end of a tier here. I give him a lot of crap about these old boring guys all the time. If you're watching, Davis, this is for you. I never do it. I always, like I said, laugh and make fun of everyone else for doing it. And then coming back around, we could probably look at another running back, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's probably time for another running back at this point.
Because we definitely want the best place to take your third running back is by the 10th or 11th round. If you look at RotoViz's tools, Sean Siegel talks about it a lot. That's really where you want to go. You don't want to wait much past that for optimal.
Can you draft board just a tiny bit, please?
Oh, hold on. There we go.
Oh, thank you. All right. Yeah. Charbonnet, Njoku, Rodgers ending the 9th round, going into the 10th. We've got Jared Goff and Damian Harris going. Yeah, I think here's a great.
Has got a lot of running backs there.
Yeah, he's got Sanders, Jones.
He can't resist its value on him.
So which ones are we looking at now? Who is left on our?
See who is there. Oh, well, there's a few that I do. I like a lot of these guys. I don't want to say too much out loud until our pick comes up, so we don't get sniped.
Yeah. We'll have to come up with a special code.
Yeah, there's one I'm off personally. And looking, because like I said, these aren't by ADP, remember, so kind of scroll.
So yeah, how do you have it organized in here? And tell me if I'm wrong, but right, Underdog allows you to import your own rankings or rankings that you're using. Is that right?
Yeah, you can. These are actually Pat Crane's rankings. Shout out to Pat.
Absolutely.
Who said we could use them on the show here, but you know, and I think that the guy that won last year seems like, you know, pretty good rankings to use.
Yeah, I think he knows what he's talking about.
he might know a thing or two.
Yeah.
I love Devon A-Chain here.
Oh, I don't hate that pick. I love it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I think Miami could not.
I don't mind Herbert. Also would have probably been, except, I mean, you know, with them taking Roschon.
Right.
A little crowded, but I think he is the perfect fit for that room. And, you know, who knows how long other guys are going to last.
Yeah, I agree with H there. Talking about Herbert, I mean, don't forget too, you've got Justin Fields, who is, you know, a runner as well. So Fields, Herbert, Roschon, whom I'm forgetting, Dante Foreman. So yeah, there's a lot of mouths to feed as far as running back.
Yeah, I was taking Foreman before we knew where he was going, but I haven't taken him at all in BBM.
Yeah, I was gonna say
since the drafts.
Joshua Pringle, I think we sniped him.
Josh, you can't claim everyone. Sorry, Josh. Yes, if you are not subscribed, please like and subscribe.
Yes.
Let's see. Again, we're in a wide receiver heavy room, but we still got some running backs. Let's see, quarterbacks.
We really are. Who are our ends left?
Well, we have, but it's early. But I'm like, when would our next pick number be?
Oh, we're on the clock.
I mean, he could last. Yeah, he could last or not. I don't know.
I trust you. Let's do it.
Do you want to reach? Let's reach.
Let's do it.
All right, I'm reaching.
Let's get Alec Pierce with Anthony.
Because I don't trust this room. I have a feeling we're going to get sniped. And that's one of those battles, you know. Yes, you can reach to get a stack, but, you know, you're obviously losing some of that closing line value. You're losing some of that ADP. So it's kind of a balancing act. But if it's to go with a stack and, you know, you can read the room every once in a while, it's okay. Hopefully, we'll make it up with some of our other players.
I think when you're doing
maybe unique combos that way too, a little bit.
Exactly. I think you just have to make it make sense. If you're reaching, of course you're going to have to, depending on where you are in the draft, and sometimes that's what you need to do. But just make it make sense. I mean, nothing wrong with a little reach here to get the guys you want.
I'm kind of trying to glance over some of these teams. Ooh, I've had a lot of trouble lately getting the Lamar Andrews together.
Yeah.
You have to do it early like he did to get it, because I've tried to do it waiting closer to ADP, and it's been impossible. So that's another way to get that combination, because it's actually more unique than you would think right now. Another start I've done a lot of is going Jamar Chase and Jefferson with the double running back, getting Chubb and Pollard.
Okay.
Or, kind of a mix, which is something a little different. But, then you kind of really got to catch up, though, at wide receiver, like we've talked about.
Well, I know we're going to come up on picking here soon. I just knocked my water there, guys. When you're talking about tournaments like this and you're doing several different teams, how important is it to you to variety with your lineups, making a unique team, trying to take players that are going to stand out once you do get into that playoff round there after the regular season?
I mean, I'm constantly monitoring my exposures. I use Spike Week tool usually to do that. So I can actually a lot of times see with an overlay of who I'm drafting and where. So that helps, because I don't like to get too heavy on any one player. I mean, I'm not into big stances of fading. So let's see here.
We are on the clock.
Who do you want on the clock?
Are you looking at running backs?
Trying to see we could be looking at running backs. Ooh, we got
right there.
Thomas. I mean, he's fallen quite a bit.
I know
there, so that's like a good value.
I know that,
and he's on the top of our rankings.
Yes. I know that we just sat here and talked about not getting too draft happy on any one particular player, but I got to tell you what, man, I would take Swag Daddy every single chance I get. I don't care. he's one of my favorites.
The only reason I don't have more of Jamal is because I have a Kendra Miller problem.
Okay. So, I really like trying to stack those two together.
It's one of my.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do recently. And yeah, I just am so partial towards Jamal Williams because obviously he's fabulous. If you haven't watched his interviews, just do yourself a favor. Just go look those up.
Oh, no. I have. He's like, I've tweeted about it too. He is literally like the best.
He's just
he's hilarious.
Sunshine,
so
right?
I have a question for you. We could get this is the point where we want our second quarterback. We're in what they call the QB window here up till actually we're a little past it, but that's okay. I think we're still technically in it. We could do Carr or we could do Stafford. Actually, because we have Michael Thomas.
Right. Either one of those two. Well, I'm a big Carr fan. I think he'll be interesting.
We got Carr higher ranked.
Yeah, and we've got Jamal Williams as well. So I think I prefer to passes, but Ben saying what's up? What's up,
Ben? How are you? Ben's my buddy in Discord. We talk a lot. We have a lot of the same player takes here, except he uses pen and paper that we got to get him over.
Pen and paper?
Tracking drafts. I don't know. You're going to have to ask him about it.
I feel like I've heard of pen and paper before, but it's not ringing any bells right now.
And I'm pretty bad with technology. So if there's anybody that's going to be, doing something the old school way, it's me.
I literally repel technology for the most part. It sees me coming and it just shuts down. So, all right. So
how comfortable are you stopping with just those two quarterbacks? Because that is what
I'm good.
Is going to still be okay. So I know some people would look at that and go, "Ooh, that's risky," and it is. But that is what we're, we're betting on. We're betting that we're right there.
We really are. And
we're stacking up those teams. I'm looking. I have. So let's see. So with New Orleans, we could look at getting some other NFC guys go in there too, and then got some against the Colts and try to get some other correlations.
Oh, nice to meet you as well, Ben.
Let's go back to the board here so we can see.
Guys, we're going into round 13. We're ending. We're on Vaporware with pick 11 in round 13. Just took Juwan Johnson. That's honestly who I was thinking of as another tight end for us if we were going to do that in New Orleans.
That was going to, that was going to be. There's another guy I like that we can get here for New Orleans.
I know
but Juwan Johnson is one of my highest exposure tight ends. So I really do like him.
If it's who you're thinking of, I can't, but I think we need to.
Wait, what? He's great. If it's who I'm thinking, maybe you might be thinking of someone else.
I might be.
Now I'm curious, but I don't want to say anything too.
I don't want to jinx. Yeah, I don't want to jinx it either. Speaking of Dante Foreman, there he is. But no, thank you, sir.
So there. Okay, I think I've just locked onto what you're thinking. That wasn't where I was going, but that's where we should go.
Probably, right? I mean, it pains me to think that.
I did it quite a bit last year, and there was some goodness to it.
It's not Shaheed, Ben. I'll just tell you that it's not Shaheed.
That was my first thought, Ben.
That was I don't hate Shaheed at all. I think that would be
that's why I was like, you wouldn't hate him. No, that's where I was like, this doesn't make sense. She wouldn't hate him. And then and I'm like, oh, yes, I know.
And then you saw
it. We're probably gonna do it.
I mean, as long as we're taking players
because we need it.
Let's do it.
It makes too much sense right now. Well, like I said, it's where we're at.
I'm trying to be better.
I don't know if we're handcuffing our quarterback or not by doing it, but
let's go. Well, I mean, if Jamal Williams get those goal line touchdowns, you better believe it's going to be Taysom Hill.
Look,
so
we have all the touchdowns for New Orleans except for Kevin Miller.
Every single one.
Well, maybe Shaheed catches along, but I mean, we're doing pretty good here.
We've got the lion's share of the New Orleans offense there. And
so so now we are pretty much probably done at tight end. We've got 4 running backs.
Mm-hmm.
How many running backs total do you think with this build?
In this build, we've got 4 already. Which round are we on right now?
We are in round 15 and we're up in 4 picks.
Okay. So we've got what, 4 more picks left? 15, yeah, because this is 18-man roster. So we got 4 more picks left. So at least 1 more running back. At least 1 more.
Oh yeah. I mean, definitely this is not a 4 running back build. I think we probably could get away with 5. And then we can kind of see from there what value falls, and I'd be okay with 6 as well.
Okay, that's perfect. So we're looking at receivers right now. If you're watching the screen on the board,
seeing who's there, who we could be kind of missing.
I've been doing so much with the Dynasty and looking into rookies that now I've got to keep myself from being rookie happy. At this point.
Okay.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. I mean,
you know what? I missed out on him on the draft today because I already had Denver guys, and then I made a stupid mistake while I was getting dressed and was like, oh, I shouldn't take him because I have Jerry Jeudy. And then I'm like, what am I doing? I just passed on my favorite player. And then I had another pick 2 picks later. Of course he went. And the other guy decided to, message me, and he's like, I tried to give you a present and you passed it up. So now I'm trying to trade for him back because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm having remorse big time.
Oh, well, Chris wanted.
I took Tajay Spears. Yeah, of course you did, Chris.
Of course you did, because he's like one of the best receivers in this year's draft. So of course you wanted Mims. Like, he's going to be amazing. Oh, Ben wants to know if we're up for another draft tonight, another BBM or a puppy. That's, you know, I mean, it's early. It's always early, Ben. So who knows?
We'll have to see. Play it by ear. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll play it by ear. We'll let you know. Steph's got your info.
We'll see. We'll see. Maybe if we get enough subscribers.
Exactly. If we can hit 400 subscribers during this show, I'll gladly stay on here another hour and do another draft. So if you guys want to be smashing that subscribe button, if you haven't already, please do so. All right, rounding out the
we could
spot here. We've got
coming up around 16. So we could start looking at getting, I think, maybe another running back, and then there's let's see. We have 7 wide receivers, but if we're staying at just the 2 and 2, we could probably go 8. And I kind of have somebody in mind a little later.
Okay.
I don't, again, want to give too much away.
Yeah, Gator says he'll set up another draft if we get to 400, guys. So I'm in. I will commit to another draft if we get to 400 tonight. Let's see. We are on. Who is on the clock here? Is that? Oh, CG.
That's
CG. Chris, 10 seconds left. Who are you taking? No pressure.
Gerald. Chris isn't going to time out. He's a pro.
Gerald Everett. I like it. All right.
I've actually been doing pretty good on. I've been taking more of him because they didn't end up taking a tight end like a lot of people thought and stuff.
They did not. No, and I mean that's one of the better offenses as well. I know they sometimes get a little bit forgotten about, but
now I know we were talking. Let's see. So we were talking about running backs. We're not drafting Zeke Elliott. I don't care how far he falls.
No. Okay. Good.
We're not doing it. Okay.
No.
I'm like I'm putting my stance down. We are not gonna cap our boy Pollard like that.
No. How do you think they'll really re-sign him? You're a Dallas girl. You're in the know.
It feels like it's happening.
Is it inevitable?
I just have that. Inevitable? I feel like it's inevitable since he's not on another team, unless something happens. But I don't think I'm praying he's not there. That they finally realize that he's not explosive or good. I'm so scared.
It's time.
But it's still better than some other options.
Oh, for sure.
So do you want to do another rookie?
I do love me some rookies. I don't love the running backs rather here at this section. So let's take a look at our rookies. Let's see who we've got available.
Well, I already know who I'm going to take, but we got a little longer. So this is a running back spot, probably.
Oh yeah. Now that I'm looking,
unless there's someone you love.
All right, we got 4 seconds. Go for it.
I'd go with Spears on there. We'll just go with the top one because I think he, I'm betting that Derrick Henry might still get traded.
That could happen.
Not make it through the season.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
they don't have a whole lot else. I mean, Spears can catch passes too, so they don't have a lot of pass catchers. They need someone to do something. I think he could still get some work. All right, now we're coming up. So who I was going to say is to get our stack because it's round 17 and I don't care about ADP. Is he even there? Now I'm like, wait, is he there or is he gone?
Yeah, once you get around 17, 18, I mean, towards the end of those drafts, we're really looking at dart throws here. At this point, I don't think you need to really worry about reaching or anything.
I think somebody took my friend.
Uh-oh. Do we like the regular season prizes? I mean, listen, I like any amount of money. So anything that I can win, I'm happy with.
I wish that they didn't do like the last. I wish they capped it like 1,000. and then put the rest of that money back into the final rounds to make them a little less. All right. So who do you like here receiver wise?
Honestly, out of that crew, probably Tillman.
I like Tillman.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Probably Tillman there with Cleveland.
I think he could get a role.
Exactly. I think it's going to be a really
interesting. So we're probably done at receiver. 8 feels right. We could look at everybody to see who fell, or but I would think we should probably try to get another running back here.
And at this point, I mean, all the guys that are here, you could take a flyer. Stephanie, are you going to be a homer? I see somebody on there you could be a homer for.
I'm not. I don't know what you're talking about. No clue. I'm sure the room already knows because I like scream about it all the time, and it's not the first time I've done it. So,
well, so just to answer
on teams that run a lot, and that guys could both have their own roles, I have no problem taking multiple players from the same backfields in those situations. And there's also room to grow if something happens to one of them.
Agreed.
So those are kind of the places you want to do it if you're going to handcuff.
How do you feel? Let me ask you, how do you feel about Izzy here in that room if Breece doesn't start off the season? How do you think? Do you think that there's a spot for him? I mean, there's Michael Carter and Bam Knight, and then Izzy if Breece doesn't come back week 1.
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot.
I kind of
think that Izzy. I think he has a chance. I feel like he's talented.
Yeah,
talented enough. And I mean, I feel like if he can't beat Michael Carter and Bam Knight out, then we were wrong about him in our evaluation, kind of. So I have still been taking Izzy late, hoping thinking the same thing. I mean, he was one of my guys earlier. I mean, I was banging the table for. I loved him before he got popular. Like. I loved him when I still thought there was an injury going on and nobody was talking about him. I was taking him then. And then Pat Crane started talking and hyping him up, and he jumped ADP to a ridiculous amount overnight, and he put up that pro day, and I was mad because my secret was out. But I still like the spot. So I'm fine if you want to take a shot here on Izzy or doing the other. We could kind of see what comes around.
Is this
there's actually one more thing I would suggest. Since we have, I'll tell you as it gets closer. Because we're on about a 10-second delay on these, but I don't want to get, again, sniped totally. There's another guy, because we already have an offense built up, that makes a lot of sense and catches passes that could get a roll.
So Ben was bringing up what we were talking about earlier about being concerned about Breece's timeline and signing Izzy. I don't think they're really all that impressed with Michael Carter. I'm really kind of curious about why he's still on the team. I mean, especially after Bam Knight came in last year and they were using him after Breece's injury. But I don't hate Izzy here. If it makes it.
I mean, they were still late round picks. I mean, they're nobody that has a big investment in or overly solid roles. I mean, they're replaceable guys.
Yeah, and that's
the only guy I was going to say is if we did Evan Hull, because we have the Richardson stack, and he catches passes. That was the only thing.
Okay, I like that. I like either one of those. I would be happy with. That's what
I think because then we kind of got a double. And again, we don't know if he'll get a roll, but he is a pass catcher.
Yeah.
So maybe, and we're kind of betting on that offense already. I have more of him actually on DraftKings, but I don't have a lot of him. Okay, I do have a lot of him because I took him all the time earlier contest, but not BBM.
See, and that's the difference. So how many different platforms are you on, Steph? Like how many different drafts are you doing right now?
Pretty much right now it's Underdog and DK for me.
Okay.
I've tried not to do too many of the BBMs, except when we're doing the streams and stuff, because the schedule's not out, and that really is putting you at a disadvantage because we know how important those matchups are in week 17. And some of the other contests, it's not as big a deal. Like the puppy is for a short amount of time. So it's not going to be open as much, even though I have started thinking that, and I saw some people talk about today, which makes a lot of sense, that I'm not a slow drafter, but doing the slow drafts for the puppy one makes a lot of sense because you're going to possibly go into when the schedule releases, and it will most likely be full before that point. So you can still have a draft going on and have that information and tailor your drafts around and have a big advantage over us fast drafters that have been going at it. And then DK's got their Millie contest going on right now. And I think with the extra spots, it's not quite as big a deal. You want me to roast your team, Chris? Well, I know you took old guys already without even looking.
I love it. That's what I was just about to ask you that and send it out to the chat. If there's anybody who wants us to go over your team, put it out there.
And I'll be nicer to some of you. I'll only be mean to the people I know can handle it.
Exactly.
Or ask me to roast them. I'm not a mean person. I promise, guys.
If you want us to hurt your feelings, we will do our best. But otherwise, we're going to be nice.
But how much testosterone did you have today in your breakfast there, Chris? Going 2 running backs and your tight end before you even get, and Mike Williams is your wide receiver 1. Oh, that kind of scares me. I'm glad you got your Herbert stack, and I do like the Chargers. But Kellen Moore, good luck with him. Us Cowboys already had our fill.
You got first hand experience.
There's some more oldies. Old. We're playing all the old hits. We got Lockett and Cooks. So this team is going to need ARP pretty soon.
Yeah, somebody under 30 there with Pacheco. Okay.
Pacheco.
All right.
All right. And then, okay, we got Mingo, and then we got Alan Lazard.
All right. Okay. I mean, he's probably going to
follow that up to Cobb.
Yeah, he and Cobb.
Oh, there's Josh Downs. That's who I wanted. He took Josh Downs because that's who I was going to pair Richardson, but that's what I was looking for.
That would have been nice. I heard that they are working out together like crazy right now.
I mean, the best shape of your life. The rapport is on. I think that was personal because we took his Mims. He wanted Mims there. Well, I think he did that on purpose.
So we're even.
I know that was out of spite. I like the Shakir pick because the Bills still don't have a ton. I think Kincaid could play the slot some, but
absolutely. All right,
maybe not right away.
Agreed. Yeah. And they're one of the best offenses in the league. So I'll take.
And you were never going to see the last. It doesn't show us the last pick, so
that's right. So you'll have to.
JP, if you're in the chat, tell us who you picked. I don't know if he's here.
Underdog keeping us on the edge of our seats here with the last pick.
So who else? Anyone else want us to look at their team?
Oh, he took Gus Edwards. Thank you, Joshua. Took Gus Edwards. All right. Well, Steph, how do you feel about our team while everybody is waiting to? I think they're afraid now that we made fun of all the old running backs. So let's.
I like our team.
I do too. I like that there's a lot of people that I don't normally take. And I like that. I need to get out of my comfort zone and stop, it's so easy just to take the same people. But it's really important in tournaments like this, especially if you're playing at a higher volume, to really, max out your exposure to different people and get different lineups out there and different builds. So, I'm glad that you were here to help make me, stretch my comfort zone. So I appreciate that. So let's see.
And I think drafting with other people is good too, because then, sometimes you have to give and get, and you can't just draft, exactly what you would do as well.
Exactly.
But
so
I like the Spike Week showing you the overlays. I don't have it on because I have to run it through a different system. Oh, thank you, Pete.
You just jumped into the chat, Mr. Overzet. Welcome to the chat. Telling you happy birthday, Steph.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Pete. But what was I saying? Oh, yeah. But so you can see your exposures in real time. So then when there's a guy and I'm like, oh, who should I take? And I see, okay, I have 40% of this guy and 0% of the other guy next to him. Go, okay, I should probably get some exposure here. Because about 8% is even with the field on these for exposure-wise. So if that's just being, baseline with everybody else. So if you're higher, you're going to have more than that of a player. And if you're lower, you're going to have less. I don't take super hard stances. Whoa, and I'm losing my earbuds.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I try not to. I mean, I am guilty of having some fantasy grudges with certain players. Michael Thomas for one. But look, I got over that. I feel like I'm growing as a person, as a drafter, taking Joe Mixon.
And that was probably
draft.
That was probably my first. Look, I don't have a high exposure to these guys either, but it was one of those things. The Mixon, though, I really do think that the more time that goes by without the news, he's going to rise. The Michael Thomas, it's one of those I just really have none of, and he could go catch a million passes, slant boy.
He totally could, as long as he doesn't.
Or he could get hurt the first week, I mean, who knows?
One of those things.
But he was the end of a tier, I felt like, so it made sense at that spot.
It did, and that's what you're talking about. Like if it makes sense, even if it's not somebody that you normally take or just it works with your build, definitely go for it. Don't be afraid to get out there and just try to take some other people that you don't normally do. Yeah,
it's easier to see the team this way on this. Yeah. So we ended up with the 2-6-8-2 build, like I was saying at the beginning of the show. I tried to, as much as possible, stay with only getting 2 at those 1C positions. If I can get a guy early on, I said Richardson is probably pretty darn risky to do with this, but it will be unique if we got it through. And if he hits a ceiling, perfect. And, Carr can hopefully do enough throwing the ball early on. And if not, we actually do have a third quarterback on our team. Because we pulled off the Taysom Hill. So,
that made me laugh so hard, Stephanie, I almost choked. Wow, we do have Taysom Hill as the extra running back, or not running back. Well, he plays all positions. He's a renaissance man, does a little bit of everything. So tight end, running back, receiver, quarterback. He probably played defense if they needed him to. So Taysom Hill. Steph, this has been an absolute blast. This has been so great tonight. Thank you to everybody so much who jumped in the chat, who drafted with us. Guys, we're going to be doing more of these. They're coming every week at you. Make sure that you are subscribing to our YouTube channel so that you get all the updates. Follow us on social media. Make sure that you follow Stephanie if you're not already at @StephMiller57. You can follow me at @Stacy_Perez83. Guys, visit our website, fantasyandframes.com. Thank you so much for listening. Have an awesome night, and good night, everybody.